It's time.
All right, so back into it. NFL Coaches Corner. Got a couple different ways that we can take this. We can
just
some
call
big
just talk
preseason
about
takeaways.
a promo that I.
And the
Or do you
promos.
want to do that?
No, that'll be in the picks.
Oh, that'll be
The
in the
promos
picks.
will be in the picks. So like
Okay.
preseason, big takeaways from the preseason.
Falcons are better than the Lions, is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have like huge takeaways overall. I watched the.
Let's start with your. Since Ryan wasn't here when we finished, why don't we do your in and out of the playoffs?
Okay. All right.
Oh yeah.
So we'll circle back to our preseason picks. My out and my in. First, I'll start with the out. Pittsburgh. It's going to look very similar to some of these other guys.
As it should.
Pittsburgh, Tennessee, New England, Arizona, San Francisco. My in, however, has some similarities, but
NFC got interesting.
NFC gets really interesting. We don't have any locks for our outs in the NFC, and
Which tracks from when we talked about it earlier, but Steve and Cole and I talked about it. It's not really parity, but the weakness of the NFC throws a lot of unknowns out there. So
Right.
It's very. I mean, that tracks to the fact that we don't have any Goonlock outs because what's going to happen?
Yeah, I think also looking at it from a standpoint of like, so for example, like Arizona, San Francisco, Los Angeles Rams, you look at it from the NFC West perspective. In the past has been crazy, crazy good. And now you have a little bit of unknowns when you have a Trey Lance as a quarterback. You have Kyler Murray with less. I don't even know what to think of his situation and him.
They just
right
don't
now.
have a second half punch.
Right.
And that's like, that goes back with Kingsbury.
Yeah.
Like Kingsbury teams start hot and they don't finish. And
Texas Tech Raiders, baby.
Yeah. So I don't know that that's going to change. And Kyler Murray just gets hurt.
Right.
Like,
They have a healthy J.J. Watt. That's about the only thing they got going for him. Or Kyler Murray nope. He won't finish the season.
Yeah. So my teams that are in, I'll start with the AFC just because I think the NFC is a little bit more interesting for me. AFC. So I have Buffalo, Kansas City, Cincinnati, who are locks that we have. And then I have the Chargers. I have the Raiders. I have the Colts. And I have the Ravens.
nice.
Which
Fitness.
so 3 teams from the West, right? Kansas City, Chargers. Nope. I did have that. No, there is 3 teams from the West. I'm
What
looking
is
at this. I'm
happening
getting
right
so
now?
confused.
Yes, you have Chargers, Chiefs.
Yeah, Raiders. Yes.
you.
The East is just Buffalo, and then there's the rest of the teams. I don't think the Dolphins are a bad team, but I don't know that for me, they're not good enough to make the playoffs.
I mean, I could see them not doing it, but they're doing it.
And then I think the Colts are
Colts
they're
winning the
improved.
Super Bowl. The Colts are winning the Super Bowl.
They're winning the South.
The Super Bowl.
Stop with your Matt Ryan homer talk.
I think they win the South.
I'm just saying they're lined up to do it.
And then the Ravens looking healthier than they've ever been.
What are the
I think
odds
we
on
looked
that?
at it. It was like a 11 cap 12 win season almost for them. And that was with like splits and going 1-1 against a lot of their divisional opponents. They just have a weaker schedule. That the NFC or the AFC West is good teams with a little bit weaker of an off conference schedule.
Yeah. I like
So
it.
then we jump to the NFC.
This is crazy.
This does get interesting for me. I got the Rams and Tampa Bay, 2 teams that we all obviously like. And then I'll jump to the East, where I have Dallas and Philadelphia. I think getting Jalen Hurts a bunch of weapons, I think that offense has a ton of firepower, and they're going to get back to the playoffs. Dallas, I think it's going to be between those two to see who wins the East. But I think Dallas is still a very, very good team. Their defense is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I jump and I have 3 teams from the North making it. I have Minnesota.
You're a homer.
Well, I have Minnesota. I just don't know who else is going to do it. That's the thing.
There's really no one in the South.
So I have Green Bay, Minnesota, and Detroit.
I just like Detroit's schedule. I mean, we looked at it.
Exactly. And I think that's the reason that I like them.
They can fairly win 10 games.
Is the fact it's the schedule.
Yeah.
If you look at just strict schedules, when I was looking at it, the Lions just have a really, really good shot because I think even if they go and they beat the Bears twice and they split with Minnesota and they lose twice and they go 500 in the division, I mean, there's still 7 to 8 winnable games that they have outside of their division.
Yeah.
So I mean that's mine. So Rams, Bucks, Vikings, Cowboys, Eagles, Packers, Lions, and NFC, AFC, Chargers, Buffalo, Chiefs, Bengals, Raiders, Colts, Ravens.
So you have 2 3-team divisions.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I dig it. I picked the Lions, but not the Vikings. Sorry.
What is your reasoning for liking both of the? Because I personally think talent-wise and
third, yeah.
I think talent-wise and expectations, based off of off-season moves, I think the Vikings have the best overall team.
The Vikings have the best. Oh.
Like, if you're looking
Talent-wise.
straight talent-wise, everything like that, depth-wise, I think the Vikings are the most talented team in the North.
Maybe.
So
I think Aaron Rodgers is just a significant difference.
I don't disagree there.
And I think that it's enough of a difference that he overcomes a lot of shortcomings, especially in the regular season. He hasn't proven it over and over again in the playoffs, but I think in the regular season, the dude is just really good.
Is it possible with the weakness of the NFC and the NFC North schedule that all 4 can make it?
No. I think the Bears. I think the Bears are 6-win team.
I think the Bears.
At most,
I
think
didn't
they're a
take the
6-win
bet,
team.
but I should. Like, there was a lot of people. I think Fanduel had a
Bears
prop
being the
for
number 1 pick.
Bears to be the worst team in the NFL.
So the Bears to be the number 1 pick.
Yeah, and so I think it was plus 1,000 the day that Roquan requested a trade, and I should have taken that. Yeah, I think that they will, or they should be the worst team. I don't know who would be worse.
The Jets, if they are with Joe Flacco without 4.
Although Flacco apparently was outperforming.
They call somebody. I heard somebody call him January Flacco because they're like, he's January Flacco because he sucks in the regular season. He's just mediocre.
I think that he could game manage them to a reasonable level of success as long as their defense is well coached. I don't think he's going to do anything to win them any games.
So
I think he just will not do things to lose them games.
This is kind of weird to say.
That's who he is.
This is kind of weird, but when you have a defensive-minded head coach like the Jets do, it's almost as though like maybe Joe Flacco fits the system maybe a little bit better as a game manager, that kind of stuff, than Zach Wilson, who you expect to make a ton of plays and be that playmaker.
Zach Wilson's just not.
I don't know what they expect. I don't think anybody has any expectations. Well, they have expectations around Zach Wilson, but I don't know that if they're really setting him up to. And with those expectations internally, I know that externally they have a lot of expectations for him, but internally, if they're setting him up and saying, Zach, you got to be this guy and putting a ton of pressure on him internally, I think it's a bad plan because he hasn't proven that he can do anything.
So a guy like that, realistically, a guy like that is supposed to be this, and he did some of that in the past of playmaking, but he also had arguably one of the best defenses in modern times. Russell Wilson, he was a game manager when he was winning Super Bowls and going to the Super Bowls. His defense was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And did he have times where he was flashing it and making some plays? Yes. Was he also, touchdowns and yards and stuff like that? Was he also hucking the football? Absolutely. But I think it opens it up and it leaves you a little bit more flexibility when you have a defense like that.
Did you just compare the vaunted defense of the Seahawks to the Swiss cheese of the Jets?
No.
He's just saying with a defensive-minded coach, like could there be
I'm
something
saying,
similar happen?
No, I was not comparing those two. What I'm comparing is when Russell Wilson got put into a perspective where all he had to do was make plays, it was up to him to win them the games and do this. He didn't go back to the Super Bowl. He didn't do those things because he had a defense in his back pocket that was incredible.
I think that was an internal decision. Like that's what I think it was. Schottenheimer was the OC at the time, and so I think that the philosophy of that team. Maybe it wasn't Schottenheimer. I don't remember.
All I know is they had beast mode in the defense.
But I think that was the internal decision, and I think that was part of why Russell Wilson ended unhappy in Seattle was because he didn't feel like he was being utilized to his fullest extent.
We're about to find out.
Yeah,
the Broncos have nothing to like they can't hold him back. They need him.
They need him. They paid him enough.
Yeah,
or paid so much for him,
which
as
is
well. So
really good for our boy Eric Saubert.
Yeah,
got a great article.
Yeah, he did have a good write up.
Talk about that as the news, but we tweeted that. That's good. That's a solid write up.
Yeah, I think that
he also had a good connection with Teddy with Bridgewater too. So he clearly the quarterbacks like him.
He works extremely hard.
For accurate quarterbacks that don't have absolute piss missiles on their arms, very, very good route running, pass catching, like a good possessional catching tight end is your favorite.
I'm just glad that in the article they said that they're utilizing him correctly for the first time.
Like Teddy Bridgewater.
I've been saying that his entire career. Like no one's utilized him to what I believe is his full potential. But I'm glad he grinded out and is where he is at because his blocking has changed and he's a solid blocker now. Plus, he's never lost his receiving threat. He's just never been put in that position.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see, I don't know him as well, and I didn't get to read into that article. If
he's my boy,
who's like a
more
well-known tight end that he's got comparable like tangibles to.
Currently, I would put him as like I
have one guy in mind,
like a George Kittle type of guy. I don't think he's as good as George Kittle from a true talent perspective, but like he catches the ball well, he has good speed, good athleticism, and he blocks well. I think that Kittle would do each of those things better, but also he's
TJ Hawkinson.
So.
No.
I don't know enough of TJ Hawk. I know he's an Iowa tight end, and there's guys that are generally talented, but I don't. He has had some great games.
I truly just want to know more about this guy. I mean, like you said, they're finally using him and utilizing him to his abilities. So it's like
in college, he had a lot of ball skills, and he is a legit 6.050 guy, and ran a 4.7.
Can you explain what 6.050 guy means to
6'5"? Sorry, the NFL operates in a weird height or weird measuring standard where it's 6'0" or it's 5'0" like it's 5'0" or 5'11", and then they operate. The last digit is fractional, so like I think half would be 4. It's in eighths, I believe. Yeah. So it's a very strange one.
But really cool insight there. So most people don't know that shit.
So Noah Fant's an athletic.
Noah Fant's less of a blocker. I would compare Fant more to like Travis Kelce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where it's like he's listed as a tight end, but you are using him more like a slot receiver.
So like a Waller. But Waller's
I don't know
Waller's a wide receiver.
I don't know Waller's
tape
that well. I know that like from a fantasy perspective, he produces when he's healthy.
Kittle's probably I'm thinking through all the ones we're talking about. Kittle's probably the closest to.
What about like an older guy, like a Jimmy Graham?
I would take Tony Gonzalez.
I would say a Tony G.
Okay.
Like we're comparing these fucking generational talents.
I would even say a Gronk.
But these are people
because
that's what's good
it's
about
tough because we're saying big names and it's not fair to both. By the way, it's not fair to Eric to us to do that. but in terms of style, can block,
That's
can
exactly
run,
what
can
I'm
catch.
talking pure style wise. That's what I'm talking. So then, okay, a listener at home might not know Eric, doesn't know the name. So then now they have somebody that they could be like, okay, if he's gonna get some reps, maybe he's a later round pick in their fantasy or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
When he lights up the
Yeah.
league this year for 10 tutties.
Exactly, but like
come
he
call,
could be like
That'd
a
be
late
sick.
right. Maybe he's if you got a deep league, it's a keeper league, and you can
Well, right now
pick him late and
he's the
be a
number
keeper,
2
like, type of,
because their draft guys hurt.
touchdown
so
or bust, whatever. It
he's
might
the
be,
number
but-
2 right now.
Gotcha.
No, I just wanted to get like a
he's-
perspective to myself, who
Yeah.
doesn't know him, as well as everyday listener.
Like so much, I couldn't find a snap count in the preseason game. Like that's
What do you mean?
like I couldn't find Saubert's. Well, then again, I'm not on the Broncos forum, but I couldn't figure out his snap count for the preseason game this weekend.
Oh, like how many plays he got?
And where?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. All right.
But we preseason takeaways. Really, I mean, it's first week. I don't think there's much. First cuts were today, of 3.
I didn't even look.
I thought that they took away the first second. Like
The Tuesday
teams can
They
make
can.
cuts, but they're not obligated to make cuts until the final week,
Correct.
right?
Yeah,
But like this is the
they don't have to solidify their roster until after.
correct.
Yeah,
But
this
teams
is when it
started
starts.
to after the and that's really to trim some stuff and pick up some guys, right?
Yeah.
Well, and
That is
it's
what it
get
is.
your guys reps that you actually are like, okay, this guy has showed me enough that
You will
I'm
see
gonna get him more reps.
You will see
Yeah.
more cuts after this weekend because they want to get one more look at somebody.
right.
I would assume, or more looks.
Yeah, probably.
But
I thought one of the big things in this. So Malik Willis made a really, really good play and then got taken out.
Yeah, because he wasn't throwing the ball when
'Cause he
needed
wasn't
to.
he was
throwing
holding
the
it for
ball.
like 3.8
Right.
seconds. It was an
But
absurd.
what I liked about it is like people were like, oh, Malik Willis is doing things with his legs that he was doing in college and doing all these things, yada yada yada. It's like he is. You're right, but at the same time,
He's
that stuff gets quarterbacks
everybody.
hurt in the NFL.
The biggest difference that I saw watching the limited amount of preseason that I did was if you compare watching a standard NFL Week 6, decent starting quarterback like a Baker Mayfield type caliber type dude, compared to these guys that are playing quarterback, I don't think there were any true starters playing besides maybe a Mayfield or somebody that's in a competition. But like
Mariota
I watched
started
Okay. Mariota started. Daniel Jones played. Like there are guys that
no, you're right.
are in new systems and stuff like that. But like any established guy, like Brady's not even with his team right now.
Yeah, that's
You
a
know?
different
Kenny
conversation. I can't
Pickett-
wait for more news to come
Kenny
out about
Pickett,
that.
Mason Rudolph,
That's a competition.
right?
Yeah.
But like Kenny Pickett had a really good preseason game.
Yeah. But my point is you watch those guys compared to the guys that start on a consistent basis. The biggest difference to me is the amount of time it takes those guys to make a decision. And so I was watching Logan Webb, or even Hoyer is pretty decent, but like some of those guys for the Patriots, and they take what feels like hours comparatively to make decisions. And I think that was, a big takeaway that like, I mean, we'd normally be in camp right now, so I watch hardly any preseason football.
Is it different? Is it? Have you done much preseason football because of that?
No, I'm just not accustomed to being with
Able
it
to.
at all. Like I think I bet one promo on like it was Giants and somebody else to win. And so like I watched the Giants Patriots game, which was sick because they won it on a field goal at the last second.
There's been some really good games by the way. There's been some cool finishes.
There have, but they're cool finishes because they're playing trash guys, like, so they're leaving the door open for these people and it's about getting evaluation. So I get that, but yeah, so it's that to me has been a huge takeaway though, is like the amount of time it takes and the amount of processing that some of these lesser quarterbacks are doing to make the same decisions that Tom Brady makes in 1.8 seconds or whatever he is on his average release time. It's absurd. So
I want to know decision time, and we talk a lot about baseball on here too, like decision time between like like a fastball, you have to make a decision whether you're going to swing in, boom, split seconds, and then at the same time transfer that somehow to football to going through your reads. Like, okay, no, okay, I can make a decision and get rid of it.
To me, there's no comparison. To be completely honest, I think the most difficult thing in sports is to hit a baseball, especially off a major league pitcher. And so I love football, but from a pure skill perspective, to recognize a pitch out of a pitcher's hand and make the decision, and I believe it's something like you have to decide in 0.35 seconds or something like that, and physically do it in like under 0.7 seconds or something. And so like that to me is one of the most difficult things, or the most difficult thing in sports from a physical perspective. Now there are technical things like golf swings and things like that are also very difficult, but I think that hitting a baseball is one of the most difficult things. I don't think it compares from a purely physical standpoint. From a mental standpoint, I think there's so much more to it than for a quarterback to make the decision, because there are so many outside factors. I think that hitting a baseball is more repetition based, and I think that there's a mental speed to quarterbacks play that certain guys have and certain guys don't.
Right,
and I think that's where you see the difference. That's
more what I'm seeing is like, because in a baseball swing, it's okay. Let's not change, and you see it more and more now where less and less guys are, 2 strikes. The big thing was crowd the plate, shorten your swing, just get your bat through the zone, try and make contact. And now guys are like, no, why would I do that? Why would I change my swing on 2 strikes? I'm just going to stand the exact same way. I'm going to take the exact same swing because that's what I'm going to do more often than not. And that goes back to your repetition thing. And quarterbacks, if you're calling that, that mesh play, whatever it might be, and you're saying, okay, yes, I'm making these exact same reads over and over again, but you're getting a different look from the defense. You're getting this, you're getting this, you're getting this, and you're still making that decision in 1.5, 2.2 seconds, whatever it might be. You're still making that, and you're going down your levels right away. Or maybe you only make it to your second read because, all right, your decision's there. Maybe it's your first read, and all right, he's beat his guy. Most
guys are, I think, they have to make a decision pre-snap and then immediately post-snap based on rotation. And for most quarterbacks, I think it's 2 reads that they make on any given play.
They probably take out. You take out basically half a field almost in the pre, and then your confirmation on your next.
Yeah, you're here, or here pre-snap. Generally speaking, right. Yep. And so what I mean is like hash to hash or hash to sideline
in between the hashes,
or hash to sideline opposite, and then there are just very few full field reads,
right?
Because it takes so much time, like. And so people talk about their progression and everything like that. And the progression is real, but the progression starts at different places based on different things, I think. And that's the part.
And that's why, like, you see these clips of receivers being wide open on this side of the field. Yeah. And the fact is they were never in the pre-snap read. Like the quarterback, because of the defense alignment, did not give someone a chance to beat their guy because I've got a 2-on-1 over here.
Well, and there are times where
they'll just do it.
They're just going to say, hey, Jamar Chase, I know you're better than that corner.
Beat him.
If I'm looking at you right at the snap of the ball. And if if he's pressed and you beat him, I'm throwing you the ball. Right. You better go make a play. Like that. That's a very rudimentary explanation of what they're communicating or how they're communicating. Right. But that is certainly something that is real. Especially at the high school and college level. I don't think it's as much at the pro level, just because the personnel advantage in those situations is not necessarily as much. You talk about like guys like Cooper Kupp or Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase. They're designing ways to get these guys open constantly, right? Yeah. And they're very good and very technically sound route runners and very talented people, and so it makes it easier, but they're still scheming constantly to get these guys open because there's so much a team can do to focus on that one guy.
And it's rare that a team is going to show press man and just say, hey, Jamar Chase, come at us, right? That's rare.
At the NFL level, they're disguising almost every coverage.
That's going to roll
which is where
the top or
which
whatever
is what you talked about formationally offense is trying to scheme them to get them to force that issue.
Yeah,
which you can do. But it was 2.17 seconds for Tom Brady last year.
That was his average release time.
That's fast.
Yeah, it's so fast.
And that means the defense has to get there in 2 seconds. First of all, that's not very easy to get around him in 2 seconds.
He has a very good offensive line as well. So, like, people are always, like, people talk about offensive line play. I was listening to somebody talk about the Cowboys today and how their offensive line is one of the biggest question marks for their team. And, you know, you gave Dak, they were talking about Dak got the bag and Dak's got to overcome that. Aaron Rodgers overcomes that. Russell Wilson overcomes that. Pat Mahomes overcomes that. You know, like those guys, you know, they don't always have terrible offensive lines, but they have each had less than offensive lines at times, and they make it happen. Tom Brady's another one that, like, at times with the Patriots, it wasn't great. When Scarnecchia went away for a couple years, it was not great, and they still had success. You know, so, like, they come back and they make the difference for those guys.
Tell you what, the beginning of the year, though, when you had the Chiefs had a terrible Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes running around everywhere. And at the beginning of last year, where their line was just like, kind of lackluster, and Mahomes was still running around. Yes, they overcame it. They made the playoffs. They made their deep, you know.
Yeah.
But they did not look like the Chiefs.
Mahomes 100% still backpedals from that.
That's what I'm saying, though.
Like, it changed who he is.
Those guys, but they still able to overcome it. It wasn't as pretty, you know, but they still were able to overcome it. I mean, the Bengals' offensive line was not great last year, and that got exposed, but they made it to the Super Bowl. You know, so you have those guys that have the ability to overcome it. You know,
Joe.
There are some, there's also some notion that the coaching, you know, they're able to scheme and plan around some of that if they know that it's a less than situation.
Naturally.
All right, move on to what are we?
We're on picks, baby. Let's get our preseason picks. Couple futures in the NFL, and then a short break before we get into some parlay.
Yeah, I wasn't even sure what preseason games we wanted to.
You guys, there's not very many good ones.
Why don't we have week 0 coming up next week. Let's just pause until week 0 of college, so then we're picking with teams actually trying to win.
Yeah, that's true.
That's fair. So let's talk about some futures picks.
Any faves you got out there already, Steve?
NFL futures?
Oh, yeah.
So I just placed one the other day for Joey Bosa to win Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay.
Kind of a random one, I know. But again, from a value perspective, it felt like it was a good play. Plus 2,500 for him to be the NFL Defensive Player of the Year on Fanduel. Any of these star pass rushers feel like they can pop in that role at any point in time, you know, and he's in a contract year. And so that was why I thought that he might be a good pick in that regard. I believe is he in a contract year or his brother? I thought he was in a contract year, but either way, I think that he's a good value pick, good value play from that perspective. Super Bowl, I've said it on here, I think every episode, but I'm a Bucks to the Super Bowl. FanDuel has a promo right now. Bet $50 cash on a team to win the Super Bowl, and every week that they win, they'll pay you $5 for in free bets throughout the season, up to $50. Yeah, they'll pay you out each week. It's not one sum total at the end of the season. So that, similar to the baseball promo that we talked about earlier in the year, or a few weeks ago, you know, you can essentially, if you pick a 10-win team, you can end up with a free $50 future on a team to win the Super Bowl at generally, I think the Bills are the favorites at plus 300 overall. Is that accurate?
I'll double check while he's looking talking through it.
And so, to me, anytime you get a chance to bet something that at those type of odds for free is a good decision.
Yes, that is a good decision.
Who's the favorite
for a Super Bowl?
It's getting there.
The Bills are at 600 plus 600.
The Bills are at plus 600. So that would right now, I may pick them from a promo perspective, just because of that value on the Bills.
So sorry, the reason I wasn't fully engaged, I was paying
Why wouldn't you pick your Bucks at 750?
Because I have them with like 3 other free bets.
Okay, so there's look, scratching yourself a little bit.
Yeah,
I think one of my favorite
spreading the love.
Spread the love.
I think one of my favorites might be offensive rookie of the year, and I think it's because they're going to utilize this guy in a similar way that they utilized a very fast person who moved on from their team. I think Sky Moore at plus 1,000 is a really, really good value for offensive rookie of the year.
I like Sky Moore. I actually have a boost with him on Caesars I believe it's for him to have over 700 yards receiving and Central Michigan to win the MAC at like plus 1,100 or something like that. I put a cash wager on that. I was so excited about Sky Moore.
That's awesome.
But I think that's something that I think you're absolutely right. He's a guy. I think his receiving total is at 680, or it was a few weeks ago when I looked at it. And I think that wouldn't be a terrible thing to pick him to be over 680 yards receiving. I think it'd probably be somewhere in the plus 110 range. Another good NFL future would be comeback player of the year, Chase Young, coming off of an injury last year. I think that he's got a chance again, just with how pertinent pass rushers become in those conversations. I think that that's always a safe place to look from an NFL awards perspective. People are going to look at, I can't remember who's up in front of him. I'm trying to look it up right meow.
Oh, this is kind of cool. I mean,
Derrick
maybe
Henry
not for
plus
you.
400, Winston plus 500, McCaffrey 800, Mayfield 1,200.
So I think that Derrick Henry, I don't know.
It's hard because he was still incredible.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, how is he the comeback player of the year? And then Jameis, I liked it. I think the Saints will have a reasonable amount of success, but I don't think he's going to be successful enough as a quarterback from a statistical perspective to make that leap. I think Christian McCaffrey will get injured again, unfortunately. And I think that the Panthers will be so bad that Baker, even if he is the starting quarterback, will not.
I think a highlight for the Panthers is going to be DJ Moore. I think he has a good year because he's going to be like their main weapon.
Yeah, I like that.
Unless you're on the train of that Baker doesn't do well with main weapons.
I don't know.
Just saying.
I think that OBJ gets too much credit in that relationship. Undue. I assume that's who you're referencing.
Or
Jarvis Landry.
I think that they're forcing the ball to OBJ, and that's why, at a certain point in time, and that's why Jarvis didn't get, because when OBJ was out, Jarvis was good. He wasn't what he was before, but he athletically is not what he was before. So,
who are the Saints wide receivers?
Doesn't matter.
Michael Thomas.
If he plays.
Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, Chris Olave. So this is maybe a bad thing to look at, but this guy also has slung the ball and thrown for a lot of yards in his career. Had a 5,000-yard season, plus 3,000 odds for Jameis Winston to have the most passing yards.
No, get out of here.
I'm not a fan of it personally.
Not even close.
But if Sean Payton was there, maybe. But even when Payton was coordinating with Jameis, they were not like the prolific Saints offense. They haven't been that. They've been
so the reason that I even consider that in looking from this perspective is pending Alvin Kamara and his investigation. So Kamara, Michael Thomas, Landry, Olave.
Yeah.
You got a receiving back. You got three Chris Olave still, we'll see. Landry has been very good in the past. Michael Thomas has been very good in the past. And if they go, 4 wide with, splitting Kamara out. Marquez Callaway had some highlights last year as well.
Yeah.
You have a lot of weapons for Winston to throw to. Now we'll see if he comes back and throws for 5,000. But that's just, so if you scroll down and you see that 3,000, it's like, oh, okay, that's kind of a glaring number for a guy that's had 5,000-yard seasons.
Yeah, that's not bad. I'll give you value on that. I don't know if I believe it's going to happen, but I'll give you that there's a possible value add there.
I think maybe the worst value in here, like I just don't like it at all, is Dak Prescott at 1,100 being above some of these guys. Like I don't.
People really like Dak. The Dak is very highly regarded.
It's because it's the damn Cowboys.
Yeah, and
It's nothing to do with Dak.
There's an element of the book setting lines, and then there's an element of the public money, and so you have to take some of that into account. And so,
Well, you said it earlier. A lot of it's marketing.
it is. I mean, so I'm sure I didn't follow it as closely as I should have, but I'm sure that there was a swing on Lions bets when Hard Knocks came out and stuff like that. So,
I do actually like. I mean, Stafford's high and Herbert's the favorite, but like, I don't like Herbert necessarily as a favorite. Stafford being a favorite though, like, he's got the weapons to do it. He had Cooper Kupp with a record-setting year. Do I think Cooper Kupp regresses from that year? Yeah, it's hard to not.
yeah.
But I don't know. These are some fun ones though. Like looking at those player props. Let's see.
The fun part to me about props like this is you can bet 20 of them, and if you hit one, you're flush. Yeah. Like not just covering what you hit, but you're crushing. So
Absolutely. Well, while we dig into some bets, let's do a quick break, and then let's get into a big parlay. Our first ever big parlay.
nice.
For
Season 2. Do we have any... No, we don't. Never mind. I was thinking college. Colegio division champs, conference champs.
You can parlay conference champs if you want to.
Across the board.
I did that. Anytime a free bet is like $10 or less, it's just like I'm gonna take a shot on something absurd and hope for the best.
So let's see. So our Goonlocks, we have Indy, Ravens, Bills, Chiefs, Kansas City, Vegas, Cincy, Rams, Bucks,
Bills,
5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 9
Bay,
teams.
Rams.
And you can do up to 8.
Up to 8. So in this sense, do you take away like?
We'll vote on which one to remove. What are the teams again?
So it is the Colts, the Ravens, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Raiders, the Bengals, the Rams, the Bucks, the Packers. So Rams.
I'd take
Bucks.
the Raiders out of that for me personally.
I tend to agree.
The Raiders.
Just because of
Well, they're the best. They have the
Lowest odds.
The highest lowest.
They
odds.
do.
Changes the game a little bit.
Colts, Ravens, Bengals. I mean, I'm at plus 1,281 with taking those guys out. And let's say we took out the Ravens, I guess. I don't know. I don't like to take that one out, but say we did.
Why are you taking that out?
he's just experimenting to see what it gets us from
We're
an
at
odds perspective.
21.72.
That's a significant bump. It's a little 900 pointer.
That's
What are we betting on this? What are the
So $10 wins you 128.
what the hell was the rule last year?
So-
$5 each.
Yeah.
That's
So
what we did.
should we put
So
20 on it?
We do 20s.
20 to win 256.
I'm a fan. Let's do it.
Send it.
That's at 1281.
Send us a Venmo request.
What's your Look at DraftKings if you can do it, though. Because if you can get better odds there, then we might as well do it there.
Go pick another one, Steve.
What do you want me to do?
Find
So
another sports
try and
book
do this
to try to
exact
do the
same thing on different sports books so then we can get the best odds.
Gotcha.
Do what the intelligent thing is to do.
Yeah, shop your lines, folks.
Shop your lines. All right. NFL football.
You're on DK, you said?
I'm on Fanduel. He's on
DK.
DraftKings.
Okay. Well, there's...
You got your bet MGM.
I've got BetMGM, Caesars, Betfred, BetRivers,
Name it.
DRF, Elite.
Which one have you had
Points
the
bets.
best odds with in the past?
Odds wise, consistently FanDuel I think has the. I'll check Barstool on this. It feels like something a Barstool might have.
That's
Decent.
true. I feel like a Barstool futures parlay is like, okay, yes, this is their bread and butter.
DK doesn't have.
I was going to say, so that is one thing that I actually really like about FanDuel is that they have odds on more stuff than anyone else does. And so it may be something where FanDuel is the only place that we can get to make the playoffs. That's this, like I said, this feels like something that
There's playoff parlay that they've built
Barstool
out.
would have.
That they've already built out. Is there any that are like
Plus 100,000 Texans, Falcons, Jets, all to make the playoff.
what's something that's around this?
Why not throw 10 cents on that? Around
1281.
1,400. And no, this is what? Pack, Vikings, Bears.
To all make it?
You can only bet the pre-made to make the playoff ones.
That's what I'm
It's really weird that they
finding.
would not have.
And these are bad and not very high. Here's an actually I'm gonna go up in odds a little bit. Plus 600. Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders. No, thank you.
Why is it divisional? Like that's silly.
That's their pre.
It's their preloaded.
I know,
stuff.
but that's silly. I mean,
It's not.
that's not even the three teams in the North that I would pick.
Can I go do I have to do this individually? No, they only have team specials.
You can parlay on.
Can't do it.
I don't see to make the playoffs on
Which one you want?
Barstool,
You see division winners.
but you can pick division winners and
Points bet
conference
might have
winners.
Looks like we're stuck with the old FanDuel.
If
and
that's
fine.
what
I
we
just
want
wanna
to
shop-
do,
I just want to
yeah.
shop it out.
I mean, we could pick them all to win the division if we wanted to do that.
I don't think we have a lock on that.
No,
No, I mean Bills would be our lock.
Indy, Bills, Rams, Tampa Bay, Green Bay.
I would not say Green Bay is a lock.
No, but I'm saying that's what,
Homer.
like, based upon those things.
you homer.
less about being a homer, more about
I'm just messing with you, man.
more
You're good.
about the NFC North is a little bit more wide open than years past. Like if you would have done it last year or 2 years ago, I'd have been like, yeah, absolutely, I'm taking Green Bay.
Yeah.
No, I want NFL. Like, give me.
So if I pick Buffalo, Indianapolis, do we like anyone for sure in the AFC West? Do we like the Chiefs to come out on top of that one?
I don't know that I like anybody for sure.
I can't say that.
What about the AFC North? Do we like the Ravens for sure to come out on top of that or no?
No.
Anybody in the NFC East, Cowboys or Eagles?
I like the Eagles.
I like the Eagles as well, but
Cole would probably say no.
I think he's picked them not to win the division, but to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think he actually.
Dallas?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, he took out
FanDuel's the only one.
he took out the Eagles. Eagles were one of his teams that are out. Dallas is his
gotcha.
team in.
Okay. So that's a no. Rams? Do we like the Rams to win
Yes.
the NFC West?
We can do that.
Tampa
Didn't
Bucks.
and then Bucks to win the South?
That's, if they don't, something happened to Tom Brady.
So those 4 picks, the Bucks, the Rams, the Colts, and the Bills get us to plus 726 on there. So I think
Futures is going playoffs.
our biggest deal is, or our best deal is FanDuel.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
So, you want to do the rundown of that? We'll post it, obviously. We'll do screenshots.
Yes, I will pull it back. I don't know why my phone's freezing up, but okay. So, our big parlay is for teams to make the playoffs on Fanduel. Odds on Tuesday, August 16th. We have a combined 8 teams. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Buffalo Bills, the Green Bay Packers, the Los Angeles Rams, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Indianapolis Colts, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Cincinnati Bengals. Those 8 teams give us plus 1,281 odds. Our $20 wager, $5 a piece, gives us a chance to win $256.21.
Nice.
Which half goes to charity and half goes to making sure that this show can continue.
So I'm going to...
For those keeping track at home. And we'll be doing one every week, starting with week 0 of Colegio football. That is.
20.
Are we good to wrap?
We are good
We're
to wrap.
good to wrap up.
All right.
So as always, everybody...
It's placed.
You already placed it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was about to as well. I still might, but
Let's go.
Let's go.
So as always, everybody, like, subscribe, follow, share. We appreciate you guys. If you got some qualms, what, I'm not sure. Is it qualms with our make the playoff picks? Let us know. Maybe we'll have to make an adjustment. We won't do that because these are goon locks. But anyways, if you got any qualms with what our picks are, talk smack to us.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe, follow, share. We appreciate you guys. Till next week. Week 0, baby.
Good luck! It's time.